This was made with a robot. This was also made with a robot. So why does this one look like art and this one's just so boring? The answer is not what you think. It's not a lack of vision or a problem with mass production. It's the cost of design in CAD. Let me show you how we can improve CNC manufacturing with CAD-free software, and why you don't have to let your CNC robots make boring things. I think we need to go review the history to see how we ended up in a world filled with objects like this, in order to see how we can imagine a world filled with more of that. Let's start that journey 300 years ago. I want you to look at this wardrobe. It was made over 300 years ago by highly skilled craftsmen. And this wardrobe was made today by a robot. Now, you might not love the style of this Baroque wardrobe, but it's not boring. Just look at this thing. There's a lot going on here. Even if you love the clean modern style of this, you've seen pretty much everything there is to see about it in about 2 seconds. To me, this is a travesty. But not because mass production is flawed, because it wastes the potential of robots. After all, a robot can make anything, so why aren't we manufacturing interesting things with them all the time? I want to prove to you that we can, and that's why today we're going to make these drawers with our CNC robot, and I'm hoping to convince you that you shouldn't let your CNCs make boring things. Let's return to the history. When this wardrobe was made in the late 17th century, it had to be bonkers expensive. Here's the museum webpage about it, and it says right here that a family from Croatia owned it. Okay, let's go look them up. Is there an English Wikipedia page about some random Croatian aristocratic family? Of course there is. How rich was that family? Well, here's the literal castle that they lived in. And is there a Wikipedia page about the craftsmen who made that amazing wardrobe? Of course not. Nobody bothered to record the names of commoners who got their hands dirty actually making things. That was over 300 years ago. But a little more than 100 years ago, we learned to mechanize the making of things, and economies of scale took over. By the 20th century, average people could own nice things. People whose ancestors were peasants now live lives of comfort in their own mini castles. Mass production made that possible. It also, by definition, made everything look the same. So we lost uniqueness, but we gained accessibility. In my opinion, that was a great trade. I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. But here's the thing. We don't live in the age of mass production anymore. Sure, lots of things are still mass produced, and they will be for a long time. But it's increasingly common that it's cheaper to make things with robots than it is to mass produce them. Let's pause here for a moment, because I think maybe that statement isn't as obvious to those of you who don't watch lots of factories on YouTube like I do. To mass produce something, you need to make a jig. Now I'm using that term very loosely here. A jig is any mechanical helper. Typically, a lot of time and money is invested to build the perfect jig. And once you've got that jig, it allows making one very specific thing over and over super efficiently. Factories that mass produce something spend a fortune in setup, and then they have to make up that investment in volume. In other words, once they make that investment, they want to avoid changing anything until they recover their costs. Robots radically change that equation. There is no more jig. The factory buys the robot once, but then they can easily reprogram it to make different things. Now the production can change on the fly to meet customer demand. The limit of this is when the robots make everything unique, and every object that comes out of the factory is its own custom object. The point here is this. The only reason a robot ever makes something boring is because a human told it to. Okay, obviously, it isn't really that simple. On the face of it, using a robot to make beautiful things seems like a no-brainer. After all, if robots can make things with no labor cost, then surely robot-filled factories should be cranking out beautiful things one after the other, right? But of course they don't. And here's why. The labor the robot is replacing is only one portion of the cost. Here, let's line item out the costs. Suppose you have some beautiful wood that you got for free because you happen to live on a tree farm. And suppose you have a beautiful design because you happen to be an amazing artist. And suppose you have a CNC robot like we do so that you can do all the carving. And suppose you have a teenager who still thinks that $5 an hour is a reasonable price to sand and paint something. Even under that scenario where you zero out all these other costs, you still probably wouldn't make a drawer like this one, because the cost of the CAD CAM alone is still too high. Getting from design to fabrication, you've got to go through computer-aided design. or as I think many people actually feel about it, computer-impeded design. Mastering CAD/CAM software at the skill level required to make something like these drawers is a time investment roughly equivalent of becoming a Baroque woodworker. In other words, in terms of investment of highly skilled manufacturing labor, we've substituted this highly skilled labor with this highly skilled labor. Even if you put in the years to master this CAD/CAM software, it's still incredibly time-consuming to make toolpath instructions for a design this complicated. But honestly, it's more than just the time. Personally, I find CAD software to be miserable. I feel like it just sucks the pleasure out of being creative. And that's coming from me, a software person. I spend all day making and using software. But here's my simple diagnosis of the problem. CAD is no fun. There's too much clicking and not enough carving. Okay, that's the end of my rant. Thanks for sticking with me. Let's go make something. Now I want to show you a better way to make these drawers. I tried making them with typical CAD software and I really just hated it. So I ended up writing my own software to do it. Let me show you how it works. So this is our software. I'm excited to show it to you. It's zig-saw.com and you can use it too. It's free to use right now, so we hope you'll check it out. This is so fast and so easy. We're gonna make those complicated drawer faces in just minutes. All right, so let's just start a timer and watch how fast this is. Okay, step one is we're gonna come in here, new project, give it a name. We'll call it drawer faces. All right, when we come in, we're in the dimensions. So the box is 11 by 14.5, so I need to put that in. The default includes this 1/2 inch frame, so we'll just keep that. And we'll keep the default here of using a 1/8 inch end mill. All right, so we go over to composition, and now we're ready to bring in our design images. So I've got a couple of design files here, and the story about where these files came from is an interesting story we'll tell some other time. But for now, all you need to know is that these are just normal PNG files. Click Next. It's separating the foreground and from the background. That's what that light blue is. We'll click Next. And our first layer is already imported. There it is in 3D. We can look at it. Turn it around, look at it a little bit. I'm going to hide this background layer that's not helping much there. Okay, now there's two issues about this layer. One is it's rotated relative to what I'd like, and these little tiny details over here are not going to carve very well. So I want to go get rid of those. So I'm going to hit Edit Layer. And I'm just going to use a paintbrush to just paint them out. Super fast. I'll get rid of those. And we'll get rid of that. Hit Done. All right, it updates. And I'm going to hit 2D View here. And I'm going to sort of prep this a little bit. And we're going to just grab this, rotate it around. About right there, stretch it to fit that canvas. And we'll bring the edges in a little bit. Fine. And let's go back to work and look at it. All right, there it is. Looks good. So now let's bring another image in. Made another one called Tree here. And we'll bring that in. Same game. We're going to bring that one just a little subtly above the floor there. All right, we're almost done. We need one more detail, which is that we need some place to attach the poles. So I've made a image with just two circles in it. Like before, just hit next there. And there is our poles. We'll bring them all the way to the top. And we'll bring our floor back down there a little bit. The last thing to do is to see what it's going to look like when we're done. So I'm going to hit the product view here, and we can see a problem. The problem is that down here, these little details are too small to cut with a 1/8 inch end mill. So let's go back over to our setup and say, well, we're actually going to cut it with a 1/16 inch end mill. And now you can see we're going to recover all those details. So we are now done. We can stop the clock. So all this really remains now is to generate the G-code, say what the roughing, the refine, and the detail are, so a 1/4, 1/8, and a 1/16, and we hit the start button. And we're going to go ahead and skip over this part. You can see that it's a one-click operation, and the last part of it we'll cover some other time about how you download the G-code and run it on the machine. The cam is complete. Let's scrub through the carved movie. So it generated thousands upon thousands of toolpath operations completely automatically from that single click, and good. Hey, not bad for a few minutes of work. Let's watch the build montage. This turned out great. I love it. But I bet you can make something better. I hope that you'll use Zig-Saw to carve something beautiful. And if you do, please send us a picture. We can't wait to see what you've made. So that's it for today. I hope I've convinced you why you shouldn't let your CNC carve boring things. Please like and subscribe if you want to hear more, and we'll see you next time.